verse 35. Now, if there's time at the end of this video, I will read through all of chapter 4 for Mark. But for now, we're starting in verse 35. We will be in the ESV version today. So, Jesus calms a storm. On that day, when evening had come, he said to them, "Let us go across to the other side." And leaving the crowd, they took him with them in the boat, just as he was. And other boats were with him. And a great wisdom arose, and the waves were breaking into the boat, so that the boat was already filling. But he was in the stern, asleep on the cushion. And they woke him and said to him, "Teacher, do you not care that we are perishing?" And he awoke and rebuked the wind and said to the sea, "Peace, be still." And the wind ceased, and there was a great calm. And he said to them, "Why are you so afraid? Have you still no faith?" And they were filled with great fear, and said to one another, "Who then is this, that even the wind and the sea obey him?" So, this was a perfect reading, as they were talking about that wind storm. We are having that storm outside. But today I wanted to talk about the faith and then the peace that God can bring to us when we are going through storms of our own. So, of course, in this passage we just read and saw that the disciples lacked the faith that Jesus would be able to take them to the other side of the sea that they were on. Yet, during this time, Jesus was just sleeping away in the boat, pretty much as peaceful as one could be. Now, personally, if I had been a disciple, I can guarantee you that I would have lacked that faith as well, and most likely been concerned, asking for him to help protect me and save me. However, after looking and reading this passage of the Bible, I don't want to be one of those disciples. I want to be like Jesus, who has that faith and who in turn also has that peace and that calmness about him. This is the type of peace that I strive for myself and for others. sure many others do as well. It is so easy for us to get stuck in our head, and instead of having faith that God will bring us through to the other side, we instead question, get stuck in our heads, and basically ask the what if types of questions. Now, it's perfectly fine to come into something prepared or have a plan for those types of situations, but when this anxiety becomes all consuming, that is not healthy. It is at times like those that we crave and want that peace that only God can provide for us. So today in our lives, we face many storms. Some of these might be an actual natural disaster. Other storms might be the loss of a job, dealing with a health issue, facing the loss of a loved one, difficulties at school or work, or even issues within your own personal storms that you are weathering right now. Definitely let me know down below, and I will be praying for you guys on an individual basis with those. So, let's go ahead and read through the rest of chapter 4, starting from the a seed growing. And he said, the kingdom of God is as if a man should scatter seed on the ground. He sleeps and rises night and day, and the seed sprouts and grows. He knows not how. The earth produces by itself first the blade, then the ear, then the full grain in the ear. But when the grain is ripe, at once he puts in the sickle, because the harvest has come. The parable of the mustard seed. And he said, with what can we compare the kingdom of God? Or what parable shall we use for it? It is like a grain of mustard seed, which, when sown on the ground, is the smallest of all seeds on earth. Yet, when it is sown, it grows up and becomes larger than all the garden plants, and puts out large branches, so that the birds of the air can make nests in its shade. With many such parables, he spoke the word to them, as they were able to hear it. He did not speak to them without a parable, but privately to his own disciples he explained everything. And then the last section, which we've already read through, but one final time, Jesus calms a storm. On that day, when evening had come, he said to them, let us go across to the other side. And leaving the crowd, they took him with them in the boat, just as he was. And other boats were with him. And a great windstorm arose, and the waves were breaking into the boat, so that the boat was already filling. But he was in the stern, asleep on the cushion. And they woke him and said to him, Teacher, do you not care that we are perishing? And he awoke and rebuked the wind, and said to the sea, Peace, be still. And the wind ceased, and there was a great calm. He said to them, Why are you so afraid? Have you still no faith? And they were filled with great fear, and said to one another, Who then is this, that even the wind and sea obey him? I pray that this video brought you some peace and relaxation, and I also pray that you all will have such faith in God to help you survive whatever storms you may be experiencing.